Today we're diving into the past to unearth a game that promised to change the landscape of online shooters, but ultimately vanished almost as quickly as it appeared. We're talking about Huxley, a forgotten MMO FPS. Back in the late 2000s, when the MMO space was booming and first-person shooters were hitting new heights, developers WebZen Games, primarily known for titles like MU Online, set out to create something truly ambitious: a massively multiplayer online first-person shooter. This wasn't just a small arena shooter. Huxley aimed for a persistent world blending the Twitch-based combat of games like Unreal Tournament with the expansive progression, lore, and social hubs you'd expect from a traditional MMORPG like World of Warcraft. It was built on the cutting-edge Unreal Engine 3, and frankly, it looked incredible for its time, and it still does. The world of Huxley was a gritty post-apocalyptic dystopia, reportedly drawing inspiration from Aldous Huxley's novel Brave New World. A cataclysmic event, nuclearities bombarding the world, reshaped the planet and divided humanity. You could choose to play as either the Sapiens, a seemingly normal human faction, or the alternatives, mutated humans who adapted to the harsh new environment. Both were locked in a brutal conflict over a new energy resource called Lunarite, supposedly created by a scientist named Huxley. Gameplay was designed to be fast-paced and team-oriented. Imagine massive faction cities that could hold thousands of players, acting as social hubs for trading, forming guilds, and preparing for war. But the real meat of Huxley was its combat. It featured large-scale PvP battles, with dedicated servers supporting up to 64 players in intense battlefields, alongside smaller 8-player skirmishes. Beyond PvP, there were instance dungeons for PvE, allowing solo players or groups of 4 to take on AI monsters and complete quests. You had 3 distinct classes: the Heavy Enforcer, Mobile Avenger, and Stealthy Phantom, each with unique abilities and socket skills to customize your playstyle. This vision was truly groundbreaking for an FPS. So with such a promising concept and impressive visuals, what happened to Huxley? The journey to launch was long, with the game announced in 2007 followed by a North American closed beta in 2009, and finally hit open beta on May 3, 2010. There were even significant financial transactions, like a reported $35 million deal for Chinese publishing, highlighting the game's perceived potential. However, Huxley's existence in the West was incredibly short-lived. After a brief period, even transferring publishing services, the game abruptly shut down on December 30th, 2010. For many, it simply vanished without much official notification, leaving a sense of confusion and disappointment. Some remember it being hyped beyond belief, only to have a half-assed release that quickly fizzled out. It seems a long development cycle might have led to the game feeling somewhat outdated by the time it finally launched, contributing to its short life. And that brings us to the core question of our video. Can Huxley, this forgotten MMO FPS, ever be revived? Absolutely. The idea of diving back into that dystopian world, battling as a sapien or alternative in those massive PvP conflicts and enjoyable PvE quests, is too good to be true for an MMO FPS fan like myself. So here's the story of how that went down. Back in 2024, I was searching the internet for anything Huxley related, and that's where I found that for some reason, WebZen was still hosting the download for the Huxley client files on their website. Better yet, this was a developer build of Huxley, meaning that there was no anti-cheat or DRM of any kind. After talking with my friend Edits, we learned that despite the game having no included server files, since it was in Unreal Engine 3, a lot of the server and client scripts were just sitting in the game folder. This was enough to get a proper revival project coming along. The following year came around and we finally made some progress. Edits got the game to load into the main menu, using his emulated server. This was a huge step forward, despite it not seeming like much for many of you who don't revive games. This got me thinking, how much of this game is client-sided? 3 months had passed and I had learned that you can just go into the game's INI text files, change the map name, and it would just load right into the map with no server necessary. When you loaded into the game, everything was black. And I mean completely black. There was no game in sight. So this had me wondering what we could do and if there was just a texture problem or something with this client. It turns out that that developer client from the WebZen website had no textures or models included. So we had to seek out a client from somebody else, and fortunately I was able to find an old Korean build of the game that was from the same year that the developer build was from. Thanks to this lovely person on screen here, I reached out to him and he found it on his old hard drive, and it was a huge accomplishment for the project. Shortly after adding those new model and texture files into the game folder, everything loaded up completely good. Not only this, but the levels were completely playable from start to finish with enemies, objectives, checkpoints, and proper weapons and vehicles. This was really a dream come true, considering we didn't have to do any real reverse engineering to get this game functional in a single player state. Now comes the fun part. If any of you out there have experience with reverse engineering or any game server development, we need your help to get the online components working properly again. Edits and I only have so much time these days, so it would be an immense help to have some other developers joining the effort. The Unreal Engine 3 scripts are written in a language that closely resembles C. So if you have any experience with C, C#, C++, that's all good. I definitely need your help. Do you remember Huxley? Or perhaps hearing about it now, does the idea of a true MMO FPS excite you? Check the Discord link in the description if you'd like to come check out the revival of Huxley with us. If you enjoyed this look back at a forgotten gem, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more gaming history, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. I've got a lot coming, so thank you for watching.